failure is an important part of success, that time and effort is an important part of success. If you look at all these famous actors and all these famous athletes and comedians and fitness trainers, it takes time to get to where they come from.
Welcome to the Solid Health Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and today I'm joined by fitness coach and athlete MAQUIS Barnes. We will discuss the importance of consistency, having different outlooks, and discipline to accomplish the possible.
It's good, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How's life treating you?
Been good. Happy New Year to you. I don't think I've spoken to you since.
Yeah, happy New Year to you as well, man. What's cooking?
Nothing. Got some content in the vault. I've been doing a lot of training.
So if you guys haven't seen, check out this guy's last post. I reposted it as well. I couldn't stop laughing. That made my morning. So that was really good. That was really, really good. I was shaking my head. I'm like, yo. So, oh man, it's already 2023.
Facts.
And
it feels like it's almost February already.
Any wins, any struggles for 2022?
Struggles, not really. I think the only thing probably was balancing my time. Full time in the doctor's office and then training on the side and trying to manage my time properly was the biggest struggle.
I don't know how you do it. So Mark, yes, it's tough. Coming from work and then training right after. I don't know, how many clients do you typically train in person after work, if you were to put a number on it?
I would 3 to 4 after. So I would wake up like 4 o'clock in the morning, right? Every morning. Hour, 30-minute commute to work from 7 to 3, train at 4, train at 5:30, train at 7, train at 8:30. Get home like 10. Repeat.
If I may ask, how many hours of sleep do you typically get throughout the week? 4.
5, maybe 4. 4 to 5-ish.
Damn. How you feeling? Okay.
Motivated. Honestly. Motivated. Like, I've grown so much. I mean, you've seen where I came from, where I started to where I am now. Like, beginning, I was cool, in the driveways of their homes and backyards, parks and stuff like that. And just kind of our globe, and now everything's systematic. Everything has a process to it. Our clients are getting results. I'm blessed, motivated to keep going.
Good, man. Good. So I know you've changed into the gym setting. How's that been? Anybody knocking on your door and giving you hesitations?
Not
so.
Well, what do you mean hesitations?
I know I have a story to share for you. I think you know about this, but sometimes people, and they don't know which gym, but sometimes people don't want you training in their gyms, like corporate gyms, it's corporate world, right? So corporate America, they're already thinking about their money. They want to keep it reserved. They don't want any outsiders to be infiltrating and essentially stealing business and stealing clientele. How's that been for you? Have you gotten a lot of, I wouldn't say like, hey, talked down to, but have you gotten any reactions? Have you gotten any altercations? I would say altercations, but issues with that corporate life, saying, "Oh, I'm doing this," and
not really. No, I think anything I did, but I started building better relationships with the people in the gym. I think the only gym that really gave me a problem was the one in Hyattsville, and the manager there saw I was training like back people, and he saw me one day. He said, "You can't train here. We're liable," and I was like, "The insurance, you won't be held liable. It'll be fine." And then but we have trainers here too, and all this stuff. He just kept coming up with stuff but after a while, started making like a relationship with them, saying what's up every time I saw him. I would dap him up, asked him how his day, followed him on IG, had conversations on IG, and after that, he stopped bothering me. So, other than that, I haven't really had any
It's
alter.
it's interesting. So, towards the end of 2022, and I don't really train people in person. Normally, I don't, as you probably know. I had one guy, and I laugh at it, but it's a blessing. He ends up, and I tell him 3 times I'm not with LA Fitness because I used to train at LA Fitness and work out. 3 times I told him I'm an online coach. I'm not associated with LA Fitness. I'm not a part of the LA Fitness brand. I'm my own brand. So I was chatting up with this guy, told him, what I do, what I offer to the side, and if something you're interested, this is the next steps to do it. He ends up going to the front desk. I know a couple of people at the front desk mentioning my name. The rest is history. And so I ended up So
what do you mean by history? You said history. What?
So history. Long story short. So I ended up getting a cancellation email. So I went up to the guys. I'm like, hey, why did my membership get canceled? They come back to me and say, oh, they said you were training people here. I'm like, yeah, I never trained anybody here in my life. You guys know me and know me well. You see me often, and I'm doing my own thing, and that's kind of how it is. So I don't really train people in here. I never really have, never done in the past. Not really gonna do it now. So they banned. So I talked to the guy who was interested in training, and he was like, yeah, they said that you were with LA Fitness. I'm like, I never told you that. And when I first called him, he thought I was with LA Fitness. And I'm like, you're getting the wrong information. There was clearly, and I don't put any labels on anybody. I think there was something missing with him, if that makes sense. I think there was something that I don't quite understand, or we just don't understand. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But and then, so I end up calling, or the manager ended up calling me at LA Fitness a few days later, just talking about the incident. And I told him, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. And he says, you see, how could this be problematic? I'm like, well, here's the thing. I'm online. I'm not in person. But if somebody does have an inquiry, I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to stop talking about it. I'm going to talk about it. So he's like, why do you work out at multiple gyms? I'm like, because I have a membership to do so. I've had this membership for 4 years now, and I've started at Towson. That's when I started working at LA Fitness, and I was able to go anywhere. I had the membership to do it, and I had a really good rate, and why wouldn't I do it? Certain gyms have certain equipment, other gyms don't. Utilize what you've got.
Right.
He was like, oh, okay, so you train your clients there. I'm like, again, explaining the situation that I told him before. I don't train people in clubs. I don't train people in the gym. And he's ranting on about, oh, you shouldn't do that. I'm like, so what do you want to do? Like, you're the manager. You set the standard. You set your time. This is your business. What do you want to do? Do you want to keep me, or do you want to leave me? He was like, well, no, I don't normally make decisions that quickly. Can I tell you tomorrow and give you a call? I'm like, no, it has to be now or never. I said, nope, I'm going to give you a call tomorrow. So I'm like, all right. So I thought about it. Call ends 10 minutes later, give him a call back, left him a message, and said, hey, you know what, you can just keep my membership canceled. It's fine. That's when I started to go back to Golds. So it's funny. It's just weird. So it's yeah. So I think to your point, it is who you surround yourself with and the relationships you can build. Because I have pretty good relationships with people at LA, but when it comes to management and people I haven't seen, and constant rotation of people, things change. You never know, right? You never know who you're going to meet, and you never know what's going to happen next sometimes. So it's just funny to me. It's funny. I reached out to the guy later who inquired and found out he already had a trainer. Like, he found a trainer 3 weeks later. So it was really interesting. So, okay. So the steps are this. You got my membership canceled. It wasn't really LA. I could be mad at LA, but it ended up being you. You're the reason why I got LA. I don't want to put labels on anybody. I don't want to blame anybody. But the fact is the fact, you had me kicked out of LA. So yeah, yeah,
Dude, it was
yeah, yeah. It was him. It was him.
that's third.
In
My
spite
God,
of me,
man.
saying that I am no ways with LA Fitness whatsoever, you decided, regardless of what I mentioned, you decided to go up to LA, their management, their front desk, and tell them that I'm with LA and I'm, who's this guy? And then again, rest is history, right? Funniest, most annoying and funniest thing in the world. So he's in a way, he's not my clientele. You can kind of tell, like, he's not really that committed. You say one thing and then you hesitantly do another. So that was funny. That happened. That was funny. And then I think it was good to have that change, and it's good to meet different people, to go to Golds. I think Golds are a lot nicer than LA, in my opinion. I mean, people have their own ways of thoughts of saying, what's right and what's their favorite. People there are different, so I had better relationships with people there. Because having that phone call with that general manager, not giving me a call back because I left him a message, just says a lot. It just says a lot that, can I persuade you to do something different? Maybe change your membership. Maybe, hey, if I'll train at one gym, that's fine, instead of multiple, because you're that concerned. That's cool. But no call back. So they don't. That tells you something. They don't value people. They don't value people. So
Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah,
it's great, man. That's why I asked that question.
that,
And I don't train people in person.
geez, no.
There are a lot of people who train in person that
Different.
are always training and they don't get the talk down or mention. Me, doing my own thing, just focusing on me, focused on my brand, not really pressing so much. One person, all it takes is one person.
It only takes one person to
Yeah.
screw you up, bro. I'm telling you. But I like you mentioned that you train
Yep.
online. So how has it been between training people in person and training online? Because a lot of people are really hesitant to invest in
It's a
online training.
struggle. It's a struggle. It's a struggle now. When I started in 2022, it was excellent part-time money. It was excellent. I thought the best you can do, nothing better. I thought I was offering programs between training, nutrition, both. And the reason being is to make sure that people have a choice, that they don't have a reason to say no. And there are some no-sayers. There are
Yeah,
some people that say no, and you convince them otherwise. Um, the
of course.
the challenge becomes, you set the tone, you set the investment. Are you committed to it? So of course, there is a cost incurred. There's an investment to it from a client standpoint, but they're investing in them. They're investing in their value. They're investing in their health and lives. So to your and it gets tough because it's similar to your situation. It's reinforcement, checking in with people, making sure that they're accountable and up to date. I have calls throughout the week. I used to have calls every weekend, and there shouldn't be any issues if they keep track on what they're doing. There shouldn't be any issues. There shouldn't really be any leeway. Might be some roadblocks here and there, but that's why we have calls. That's why we have one-on-ones to figure out how do we get through those roadblocks. And challenges,
Right.
sometimes people get responsive. Some people aren't that committed. They have other commitments. So that's the hardest thing, I would say. I would say with in-person training, it's a little bit of an advantage because you get to see the person in person. The problem that I have with in person is, and I've done this part time throughout the majority of 2022 when I worked in Golds in Riverdale. So I did that part time, being a coach. Is there's some people who are committed. There's again similar to online. There are people who are committed, people who are not committed. There are people that say they want to commit and they want to come to a session, they end up no showing. And it's kind of a waste of your time. Uh, Now, there's always mitigations to, make sure your end is met. So make sure if there's like a late fee or a no-show fee, you can accommodate that. But given that I'm working with a different brand other than my own, it's kind of tough because you don't have so much leeway. So the good thing about you and I starting
Right.
business, and I'm not thinking about potentially pushing for other businesses, is you get to set your standard, you get to set your tone. So I think when I started my online coaching training business, it gave me a sense of, hey, what are my costs? What's my accountability? What's my responsibility? How do you market? That's the advantage. Disadvantage is there's only so much in a day to accomplish what you need to have done. So beginning of what you mentioned earlier on this live stream is time. So managing your time is a big thing. There's so much, I would say there are a lot of tasks that there are more tasks than there are minutes and hours in the day. That's in a nutshell. So it's all about how do you prioritize your time well, whether it's marking things on your calendar, putting things on your phone to say, hey, this is what needs to get done. And sometimes, Marquise, I've had things just thrown out the window. I have a list of things to get done. There are times and days where it never happens. It gets thrown out the window because something else is prevalent and more pressing to take care of. So that's the biggest issue when it comes to online. And then in person, kind of similar. It's good that people have that motivation. So like boxing, for instance, I have one guy who used to do one-on-one boxing with me. And I told him, hey, this is where we can train. This is where we could work out. And, he's saying, oh, I got this and that to take care of. I'm like, I'm here for you. Don't shy away. This is my time at this, also you can't really press on my time. So I've kind of came to the point, especially towards the end of the last year and the new year, that, hey, put yourself a little bit of a priority. And then, if people are really interested, people will follow, So it's all about what you want. It's all about what you want. So, yeah. I think I used to coach classes last year part-time, and that's how I'd like market my brand as well. And people don't. I have a book, and Golds doesn't have a book. LA doesn't have a book. Gyms don't have a book, right? So if people are really interested but don't want to dabble so much, the book's there. It's basically less than gas money. You can take it for gas, less than gas money. You can invest in it. So, I think it goes back to what people are committed to doing and priorities. Now, some people, I think some people are for the priority. I think they just need a different type of reinforcement to show it. It could be in person, which is probably most people. It could be online, which may be other people. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answers the question.
No, and it's funny that you mentioned priority, because, and not to put anybody on blast, but I had a potential client who, she reached out to me. She told me, hey, Marquise, it's the new year. I'm trying to lose some weight for something that she had going on. So we got on the sales call, we talked, had a consultation, one of her goals, habits to change, things like that. And we already set a start date. And she said, I can't pay now, but I'll be able to pay you at the middle of the month at a certain point if we can start then. I said, okay, cool. We don't have to wait for payment for you to start making changes. So I said, let's do this. Let's do that. And these are just habits you can take with you regardless of if you train or not. I said, okay, cool. So for about 2 weeks, reaching out back and forth, helping her with her diet, managing her calorie intake, things like that. And she started noticing differences almost immediately. More energy, she slept better. She was losing weight. Even in the first week, she lost like 2 pounds just from changing her diet. So the week that we were supposed to start, she messaged me. Mind you, we had already spoke a few weeks prior, and she mentioned she had to balance her, her budget for the month to be able to, make the money work. This was fine. But the day before we were supposed to, get everything started, she texted me. She said, hey, Marquise, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to start this month because I'm going on a vacation. I said, okay, cool. I mean, no I have no
Yeah.
problem with that. That's
Yep.
you, but that just
Yep.
tells me where your priorities are. So you'd rather take a 5-day vacation, which is
Yep.
your prerogative, it's your money, it's your life, do what you want with it. But you'd rather pay for a vacation that'll last you 5 days, 4 days, a week, as opposed to making a change or
Yep.
an investment in something that could change your life. So you have to really be cautious of the people that you not just interact with, but the people
Yep.
that you want to do business with too. Because people, they will show you if their priority is really fitness or trying to lose weight or gain weight or whatever their goals are. They'll show you. But you have to really
Yeah.
be
I agree.
cautious about those things. And I've learned that. And then also harping back on what you mentioned about, timing and the fact that, and I've learned this last year, was the fact that I wanted to see
Yeah.
more clients. And the thing was, I was working
It's
full
tough.
time and I was
Yep.
training on the side. So in order to see more people, I had to have more time. I didn't
Yep.
have much more time. And it felt like at that point, and I'm trying to get more into a hybrid business where I'm
Yep.
doing in person and online. But I realized that, like you said, time kind of
Yep.
caps how many people you can help, how many people you can impact, income you can make. Because like you said,
Yep.
it's only a certain amount of time in a day. So, like I said, I learned that the hard way last year because I was trying to train people and
Yep.
people were asking me for help. But I said, I'm sorry, I don't
Yep.
have any more time in a day to train
Yep.
anybody else. And that's
Yep.
money I'm leaving on the table. That's people's lives. I'm leaving out.
And
Like,
that's
it's
the
tough.
disadvantage with
So
in person. With in person, there's a lot of time that okay, you have to drive to a location, 45 minutes to an hour, train somebody. Then you have the next person. So it's like, hey, I get that I'm changing lives, but it might, and not to say that in-person training doesn't show that value. Do you feel like you've invested, you made a good investment of your time? That would start the question. How can I make my time better? Maybe it is a good piece of time to train in person, but if it's taking so much time and I can do the same thing but in less time, what is another way to do it? Which is why I got into online coaching, is because of that time. So so
right.
it's different. It's kind of tough, which is why I have to throw content in. Which is why I have to do that. I haven't done it recently because one, um, time is kind of also a big thing. So make sure you manage your time and stuff. And two, I I had a patella tendon rupture towards the end of November. So I had to get surgery, so I can't really squat and do anything. Fun stuff, right? Yeah, so
Yeesh.
that's good stuff. So still a month into PT. So I got 45 degrees. We're gonna push for 90 in about a couple weeks. I haven't drove anywhere. I'll be honest. All my workouts, keeping maintaining, everything's at home. So I have cross trainer, well not cross trainer, but like all round trainer where we can do lat stuff, push stuff. Legs I can't really do. I mean I can only do so much. Remember calf raises. You got to think the knee is so locked.
Yeah.
It's in a extended position. I can't really flex it as much as I want to. So it's
Right.
something. 2022 was great when it started, and then it went downhill pretty pretty quickly. So on this like video or Instagram live or podcast, which I know I've shared with, is how do you overcome those, like proving what is possible. I saw or listened to a podcast with, I don't know if you know these people, with Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall. So they're like world's strongest men. So what they talked about,
Mhm.
and really it was Eddie who mentioned a little bit more about, hey, there's a physical side to things and there's also a mental. So like, how do you mentally
Oh,
overcome obstacles? There's going to be physical obstacles, but what about the mental obstacles? I thought, you know,
yeah.
surgery, operation, recovery, that's the physical. That's going to be the obstacles or obstacle there. I'd say the biggest challenge, and I was talking to somebody last Saturday. Josh Solomon drove me to Golden Bowie. Yeah,
Josh
yeah,
Solomon from
yep.
Mac?
He and I go back, way back.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he. There was a lady that I was doing a superset, and she was like, "What happened to you?" And said, I had a patella tendon rupture. So what they had to do is go in, reattach the tendon, pull. You got to think my kneecap. If you imagine my knees here, this is the kneecap. This is my femur. That kneecap
Yeah.
went up, like it was like not even. Oh yeah.
You saw
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes had that
Yep.
same injury. I don't know if you
I
saw
remember.
like a few years ago. His kneecap
Yep.
was completely
Yeah.
dislocated.
But I don't think did he have a
Yeah.
tendon tear though.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think he just dislocated his patella. And it like snapped it back. He was still able to play, but obviously
Have you seen him
his
wear a
mobility
brace?
was not the same.
I'd be shocked if he didn't wear a brace. Because if something like that happens and your kneecap just shoots up and then you put it back into place and have it relocated, I would think you would want to wear a brace. But people are different. People manage pain. You got to think those people have like a lot of high-end, first-class, top-class physical therapists and doctors available at their discretion. So, no, having that injury, patella tendon rupture, it sucked. That sucked. I couldn't do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I was making great strides for my personal health, fitness wise. So the physical is I can't bend, I can't squat, I can't really do legs, I can't walk, I can't even go outside or drive anywhere because it's my right leg, and you need to bend that right leg in order to tap those pedals, right? So that's the biggest struggle. The challenge mentally was, I'm kind of stuck in the crib, right? You can't really move around. You can only do so much. You can only take action and accountability of so much. But, you're thinking of how am I going to get back to where I was a month and a half ago or 2 months ago. So that's the challenge. So baby steps. Yeah. Yeah.
Knock on wood. I've never had any catastrophic major injuries like that. But last year, so I've been an athlete my whole entire life. Football, basketball, wrestling, track, my whole entire life. But like I said, I've broken my ankle once in middle school, but other than that, no major injuries. But last year, I noticed I was having some really bad foot pain. And I didn't know where it was coming from. It was like kind of in my arch, but almost into my big toe. And I kind of just pushed it off. Maybe I'm just on my feet too long throughout the day, or maybe I need to stretch, or whatever the case may be. Took some ibuprofen, let it go. Then a few weeks went along, and the pain didn't go away with the ibuprofen. The ice stopped helping. So I went to a podiatrist, and I already knew that I had bunions on my feet. Not just a bunion, but like severe bunions, to the point where my toes don't bend normally anymore. And I went to a podiatrist last year, and they said, "Bro, you need surgery."
Exactly what they said about my tear.
If I could pull up pictures, show you the X-rays, my toes literally go at a 45-degree angle.
I know they did the X-ray. Oh wow, it's different. Because they lied, like they didn't. We had an X-ray, but they didn't even have to do an MRI to determine what was going on. They just automatically knew, like the physician and the PA and the doctor were like, "Yeah, this is a tendon rupture. This is a pure tendon rupture." Anyway, go ahead, continue.
I mean, honestly, they looked at my foot. They just straight up took my sock off. They said, "Oh, that's bad." I said, "Oh, that's not good." And then I was like, "Okay, I can handle the surgery. How long would the recovery process be?" They told me 4 to 6 months to fully heal from that. And my full-time job required me to walk a lot. My business required me to walk a lot. So it's like, do I risk my long-term health for this and just kind of push through the pain and let it go, or get it done? And it's those decisions that you have to make in order to like you said, those mental battles where, you know, your body tells you one thing, but your heart and your mind
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
don't do it, or do it. Like the return on investment. If I do this and I feel better afterwards, will it happen again? There's a 50% chance it'll go right back to where it was
Yeah.
in 10 years, what they said. So having to deal with that, and I still deal with it now. Obviously, I didn't get the surgery, but still working with the pain through the pain, it's tough. So having to push through and really, focus on, okay, this is what I'm here to do, and do it,
Yeah.
regardless of the pain. So I feel you with the
Yeah.
mental toughness
Yeah.
aspect.
The worst thing is time. Because like time again, time is a big thing. You can't get it back. So when I hear 3 months, I'm like, it maybe in February I can start doing what I want to do, but it won't be 100% just yet. Some people say 3 months, which is the bare minimum for me because I'm young. It could be even longer to get it fully to where I want it to be. I think just go back to what you want and what you want to risk. When you see something like that, it's like, whatever you've done or whatever have happened, do you really want to relive that again? Like, do you really want that headache? So, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been something. It's been something. Yeah, for me, I definitely had to take because I work a hybrid. So some days in the office, some days at home. I'm at home until March at minimum. So it's been something. It's been something. It's been different. So not really.
Yeah.
The only way I would get out of the house if one, my lady were to drive me, or a friend would drive me, or my dad or my parents would, pick me up or take me somewhere. It's something. The only way I would get out of the house is if I get a ride. I went out for dinner last night, but I couldn't do it unless I had someone to drive me, right? So, yeah, you got to think,
Yeah.
how would you get yourself into a car as well? Because you have an extended leg that you can't really flex. Right.
Is your right leg or your left leg?
Yep. Yep.
Ooh.
It's my driving leg. It's my driving leg, right? So
You guys want to say that shit?
this was something you got to consider. So, yeah, no, that's where I think it gives you a step back of, where you should prioritize a little bit more. So, like, I'll give you an example. I got for Christmas, I requested a monitor. I got it. Got a microphone. I didn't connect it today, but I got it. Because I wanted to do something similar to this podcasting, Instagram Live. Haven't figured out how to connect this just yet to the phone. I have it on my Mac, but it'll be baby steps. And streaming games, it's really streaming games, and obviously I'll do fitness and health videos and blogs and stuff like that. But in terms of figuring out where your time is most valued and looking at other opportunities, some things you want to consider. So, I know a couple people I think as well, are like in real estate. That's a big thing as well. So property management. Some people make money off streaming, which they, tap into it, but you never know till you try. Some people love, what was it? They say real estate, online real estate is people we're getting into. Never heard of it before, but that's an idea. Some people love,
I don't understand how that works.
and some people like investing. So I'll tell you, it wasn't the greatest. I wouldn't do it personally again. I did invest in crypto, so current cryptocurrency, just to test the waters out. So
Which one?
I invested.
Which one did you invest in?
I invested in Bitcoin. Yeah.
Really?
Just to try it out. Wasn't the greatest investment, but I'd rather tap into it, throw a slight tap in, knowing that, the worst case scenario is not going to be the end of the world. Some people go all in. That's why gamblers go in and people love to gamble. Vegas is big and people like lose everything. So I don't know how big was watching Ballers on HBO. is like they talk about, you know, how college athletes in football move into the professional, then the money gets into their head and it starts to become a mental game and people start investing and they end up losing more than they're actually gaining. And it's like, you really want to do that. So that's something I take in considerations. Like, you know, what do I have to lose if I do this? So people set a standard. What are your standards? Do those standards meet other people's standards or whoever you're working with? I ended up working last year with I guess you can call it a marketing company, a leads company. They were I'll be honest, they were garbage. They were never communicative. And I was talking to somebody. This is why you kind of have to have contracts. Uh, Speaking from experience, and think I have contracts myself. You can never trust people. You can never trust people that have something written down. I should have listened to my own advice, but didn't. Ended up getting part of my investment. It wasn't the investment I wanted to get, and those guys just pretty much ghosted me. Again, it wasn't a big investment. Nibble nabble, nothing crazy, because thank God, you know, we have stable jobs, we have some sort of income, both training wise and main job wise, and other sources of income as well. But your reputation and who you are is on the line here. So if you don't want to put in the business and put in the work to show that you actually give a shit, my language, but give a shit, that's on you, you know. So you can do that. I wasn't cut from the same cloth as you. I'm not going to do that. That's not something I was brought up with. I have some sort of integrity. I clown around, I mess around, but even I have some sort of integrity and, you know, got people's best interests at heart. So, you know, it's all about who you work with too. So, and your investment, but it's an experience. You know, you live and you learn from it. You know, sometimes whenever you have a gut, there's always some reservations where you're scared to do it. Somebody told me to do it scared and see what happens along to a degree.
Yeah.
But you know, you got it.
I feel that.
As long as you set your terms, right? So if you do it scared and you set your terms and you know that, hey, this is something you can afford to do, with, you know, repercussions being, hey, you know, it's a hit or miss. Try it out. You never know. You know, I went as far with the investment company to hear people's stories. So I went on calls to hear people's stories, get some credibility, right? At least I got something out of there. And I've gotten some credibility, took a risk. Wasn't the greatest risk. Here I am. but you never know. You never know, right? So it's just an experience. At the end of the day, I'm not bankrupt, thankfully. Not wasn't in a bad financial situation. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think so, like you mentioned, it's good that we both have means of income outside of training, because training is a very, until you get to the tip top, it's not consistent. It's never consistent. People come, people go, people cancel. There's peak seasons, low seasons, so there's always fluctuation within fitness. But like you mentioned, I tried investing too. My father, so you know, Amazon's going through this huge like plunge. Like they've been laying off a lot of workers. Their shares are dirt cheap. I bought a few, and the return on investment in the last couple of days was crazy. But I also got into sports betting since it became legal, and it's been pretty sweet, low key. But you, like you said, you have to have money to make money in certain instances, especially when it comes to investing and stuff like that. So people get discouraged when they invest $100 into something and only get $1 or $2 back in return. But you have to, you know, put more money into it to get the returns that you want. That goes back into time and goes into fitness, because people don't invest the time necessary to grow the way they want to grow. Right. People don't put the time into their fitness to get the goals that they want to get. So it's all in investing your time and investing your effort in what you get in, or what you put into something is what you're going to get.
I think it goes back to what people's mission statement is, or personal statement. What are you trying to, I gotta say hi to somebody. What are you trying to accomplish? And are your avenues or your actions reinforcing or getting you closer to that accomplishment? So if it's yes, then that's great. If it's no, then maybe you need to change an avenue, or maybe you need to change your interest. If people want to climb a mountain, yeah, maybe I'll get to the top one day, but let me start with that ledge first. Once I'm done, let me climb onto the other ledge. So I'm building myself up to get to that mountain. People think, oh, I want to get it now, now, and now. And maybe, but the chances of that happening are very, very few, very, very minimal. So maybe starting on a ledge, then pushing yourself up to another ledge, then going up there. So it's a phase. I think that's the word I've been using to people is, and I even told a lady about my post-surgery opposite. It's just a phase. It's not a great phase, but it's a phase. It could be a phase of reinventing who you are, trying something different. And right now I'm in the verge of trying things different. I'll still keep training, maybe keep my fitness open. Got to update my search though a little bit, but it doesn't mean I can't offer some services meanwhile. But it's something to think about. It's something to say, hey, this gives me a reality check. What's proven to work? Where are people investing their pockets in? Is it so much fitness? Maybe it's something else. Maybe real estate. Maybe cars. So people lease cars, for instance. So where would people's time, again, go back to people's time. Where does people's time go into? So, I know people go on YouTube, people start out in fitness, other people then move into, hey, investing in property, cars, things of that nature, anything that people have high value and demand for. So that's where I'm at. So that's, it's life.
I think my thing too, and this may be a little off topic, but I think a lot of it has to do with perspective too, because people's perspective of things kind of influences how they approach things. Like I use social media for advertising and for fun and all this different type of stuff, but social media paints such a clouded image of success that people don't really understand what it takes to be successful. They don't understand the time that people put in to be successful. People only post what they want you to see. They're not going to show you the struggles. They're not going to show you the failures. They're going to show you all the success. So people automatically assume, oh, success doesn't take much. I can do it in a day, in a week. Right. I didn't know about this person yesterday, but now I know about them today. So it only takes this amount of time. And people don't really understand that failure is an important part of success, that time and effort is an important part of success. If you look at all these famous actors and all these famous athletes and comedians and fitness trainers, it takes time to get to where they've come from. Bernie Mac, my favorite comedians ever, was doing an interview with, I forgot who it was, but he mentioned he was, before anybody even knew him, he was homeless and he was telling jokes on the subway, and no one was paying him any mind. And then he became Bernie Mac. Taraji P. Henson, she's from here. She was doing an interview with, I think, Oprah Winfrey, and she was telling Oprah how she got a degree at Howard and she came to LA to start her her acting journey, and she wasn't getting anything at all for years and years and years. She got Baby Boy when she was really, really young, and then didn't have any movies for about 5 or 7 years after that, and almost debated quitting acting altogether. Like, people don't show those struggles. People don't show those roadblocks that they have to overcome to get to where they need to go. That's fitness too, because people will see someone posting, all the success they've had with their fitness journey. Oh, it took me a month to lose this. It took me 2 months to lose this. But they won't show you the fluctuation that you see throughout your weight loss journey. They won't show you the times you slip, you gain a few pounds instead of losing a few pounds. They never show the hardship. They always show the easy, the quick. So people always want quick, the easy, and the fast. So, that's the problem, I think, maybe with our generation or maybe the next
I
generation or the generation before us. We don't have we don't put time and effort into getting the
I
things we want. We just want instant
I
gratification. And we don't get the
I am
gratification
guilty
quick.
of that. I'd be lying if I said I'm not. I'm definitely guilty of saying, "Oh, I want this now, now, now," and I'll work for it. But you
Mhm.
never realize how much time and how much commitment you got to put in order for that to happen. And it, it's tough. And I will agree. It's definitely a generation thing. Past generations, you don't really see that. Current generations, it's definitely here and now. But how many people get to where they like to be just with the here and now and doing a fraction of the work? Um, it's tough, and it can be
Yeah.
frustrating. That's the problem with it is you get to see other people, and I'm like, well, why am I not this guy? How am I not this guy? I experience it. I've experienced it now. Like I've come time and time again. I have to catch myself, keep myself from saying that. So the biggest thing is that maybe they're them and they're not you. So they're you know if you can definitely you have something to bring to the table. It's just a matter of what it is. Maybe it's humor. I've done some humor here and there. I haven't recorded it because I need somebody to record my shit, but that could be a thing, right? So maybe it's humor, maybe it's knowledge, because knowledge is power. It could be anything. It could be anything that brings value. So uh,
Yeah.
that's the thing. And people's rides are different. I've realized that, and it sucks. That's the only word I can say. It is not ideal for your ride to be different than somebody else's who's at where they want to be. So, and I think it goes back to what do you really want to accomplish in life? What is your real focus? Is it to be financially free? I mean, that's my goal. How do I do it? And that's when I go to the option of, hey, I've started training, and this training is a time consumer. It can be very time consuming. So how do you make the most of training? Is it working for you? And if so, great. If not, why isn't it working for you? Is it the environment you're in? Is it the demographic? Given DC, I mean, being just outside Washington, DC, the demographic can vary. I think with definitely up north at Montgomery County, I can attest that there are definitely a lot of wealthy people. But yeah, so
Oh, yeah.
how do you attract those wealthy people? Maybe it's different advertiser. Maybe they just say, hey, this is where I invest my time in, and follow what they're investing in. So, and kind of learn that.
Yeah.
So I think it varies. I think it's like focused more, what you're driven to do and what your mission statement is. And I'm still trying to figure that out now. Like I have one, but sometimes it changes. So it's like, oh man, that I saw that. Maybe I should invest time in that. So yeah. So
Yeah. It is tough. And I like how you mentioned the fact that, because I used to work in Montgomery County Law. I was working at a doctor's office this past year
yeah.
that was in Bethesda, and I can attest to the fact that people out there
Oh, I
have
know. Yeah.
money, like
Yeah.
different kind of money. Um, so it's hard tapping into those demographics because you have to be
Yeah.
in those demographics. Like the people that live in Bethesda, Montgomery County, Potomac,
Yeah.
um, Rockville, those doctors, lawyers, all those people aren't hanging out at the same place that people
Yeah.
from Clinton are hanging out, or the people
Yeah.
in Bowie, for example. They're not in the same, So when you're doing things, you're trying to
Agreed.
attract a certain demographic. You have to,
I know. I
huh?
agree with you. I agree with you completely.
Yeah. So your advertising,
Yeah.
your marketing has to be geared toward those people. And I've learned that I'm trying to do better with my content, my stuff that I put out there. But also too, it's about your product too. So regardless of, you know, where
Yeah.
you are, who you train, results are results. And I'm not saying anything about me or about you or any trainer that I know, but a lot of people, especially trainers that I know are up and coming, they have the good content and they have the
Yeah.
nice body, they put in the
Yeah.
work, but their products are ass. They don't know how to train, they
Yeah.
don't know how to work with people, they don't know exercise, they don't know
Yeah.
kinesiology, they don't know how the body functions, and they get shitty results. And that's why their business isn't, you know, going how they want it to, because
Yeah.
they're not putting in the results, or they're not getting the results
Yeah.
from, you know, the clientele. So it's more than just, you know, going out, you know, reaching out to people and advertising and marketing.
Yeah.
You have to have a good product.
Yeah.
You have to be able to get the results. You have to be
Yeah.
able to show your value to those people. So showing the value in a fitness business to someone in Bowie and Clinton,
Yeah.
or Seat Pleasant and Forestville, District Heights, to someone in Rockville and
Different.
Bethesda are completely different. But if you get the the results
Yeah.
always speak for themselves.
That's why
Always,
transformation
my
posts
opinion.
are a big thing. So hey, this is what happened. This
Yeah.
is what this person's done in going into my program, and you know this is I've done one. I've tried to do it one time. I haven't really been consistent. I've definitely had somebody go into depth on one of my programs live. I just want them to talk, right? I try to like keep my peace and not say anything. I want to hear what they have to say, good or bad, right? So, you know, how did you like
Yeah.
the program? Talk to me a little bit about you. You know, tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into the program? You know, how did you like it? What did you learn from it? Would you recommend it to other people? That's like probably my three big questions. That's probably one of my three big
Yeah.
says within the entire call. Because again, it's all about them and making sure that experience is good. Because not, it's that's not good. That's not really how I want to do. That means I failed somewhere. I messed up somewhere, and that's not what I want to do. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's your name, right? You got to put some emphasis in your name. So, no cap,
Exactly.
no BS.
This is your
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right. Like, how would you want people? How would you want other people to represent you?
yeah,
How do you want to represent
yeah.
yourself?
And
Okay.
sometimes I think, and it goes with coaching because like I'm taking a course in like business analytics, and it's like coaching for a business, right? So figure out, hey, based on what I've seen, this is where you should invest your time and funds. This is where I would take out expenses, that type of thing. Having a business background, not I know you is different because you're in kinesiology and you had a kinesiology background, but thinking from a business standpoint, you got to think where you want to invest your time and why. And the work that you've shown proves that. So, like, you're advising people and telling people, hey, this is what's going on. I have the facts to show it. Like, there's no cookie cutter, as they want to say, on things. There's no one size fits all. This is what I've seen happen, and this is what we need to do to take care of, get to where we need to be. So, um,
Yeah.
that's a big thing that I've learned, and it goes back to numbers and metrics. I would say as well. So if you put numbers on things and metrics on things, it kind of shows, and it's more a little bit more appealing. So um,
Yes. It's crazy because I have a client who I just started with. I don't want to put
yeah,
their
yeah,
name out there. They
yeah,
may be watching or tuning in, but she has
okay.
a degree in business or marketing. A degree. She has a bachelor's in marketing and just got
I
her master's in
I know who
marketing
you're talking about.
analytics.
I
And
think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, yeah,
you might, you might. And she told me, which I didn't even think about it. I mean, obviously,
yeah.
it's true, but in the way that she broke it down to me
Oh
was
yeah,
that data is king.
yeah,
Data is king. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Like I got a bio degree with a
yeah,
stats minor. Like data, okay, cool. But she ran through
yeah.
and kind of piggybacking off of what you said,
Right.
time is data too. Time is also data. So she mentioned that I should log, you know, the time I spend doing this, the time I spend
Yeah,
putting into my content, that I do into
yeah,
advertising, that I do into training, and see what brings in what income wise, interaction wise, engagement wise. Look at the data. If you realize you're getting more engagement, bringing in more income,
mm,
focusing more time on your content as opposed to your
Yeah.
marketing, fuck the marketing. Put the
Yeah.
time into your content and vice versa. So, like you said, data and numbers and putting a number on things is super crucial, especially when it comes to putting a business together and doing it on your own. So I'm trying to incorporate that into my routine.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. I think it's utilizing your resources. So you're
Yeah.
100%. That's you get burnt out, especially running a business. You have to run everything. You have to run everything. So
Yeah.
what do you do? Because again, it's time, right? So time is a big metric. To your client's point, what do you do to mitigate and manage that time? What resources do you have available? Like for me, if I had somebody that would work out with me, it would be a little bit more of an advantage because they can record what I'm doing, help me out. I wouldn't have to have my phone, like my phone right here, right? So I wouldn't have to have my phone in a corner and just record it, right? I would have somebody who can move around with me. Like I have a camera, but if I have a person to do it, that's something more advantageous. What I did in the past, again, get back at some point, I'll get back to it, is I would market my content throughout the week. So I like post like 3 times out of the week. So I'd take like a Saturday or a Sunday and say, hey, based on the content I've created, how are we going to mitigate maybe using Facebook? I typically use Facebook and match it with Instagram to say, hey, I'm going to schedule my content. I have a scheduler to post on Monday. Let's say at 12 o'clock because people are going to be at lunch. Then on Wednesday at 6 o'clock because people are off work. And again on Friday in the morning, like 11 and 12. So it's all about how do you manage your time well, because I'd rather do that than, rush to get something in throughout the week. So that's where I see it. Yeah. So that's a big thing. It's time. Cool, guys. For those who came onto the live, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll definitely have another one. Let us know what you want us to talk about. I know we have a list, but I know Marquise has mentioned some things. If there's anything specific, let us know. We'll definitely do a live again. Maybe we'll do a Zoom. We don't know. We're definitely offering people to come on to these calls as well. So it's not just me and him or me and Marquise. Anybody is welcome. So there's no holds bar, no restrictions. People are welcome to come.
Yeah, for sure. If you have questions, concerns, comments, if you're on a fitness journey, a weight loss journey, you just want to be healthy, or just want to be in tune with some good conversation, come through.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Good vibes only. Good vibes only.
All 2023, good vibes only.
Yes. All right, guys. Marquise, thank you. Thank you for your time. It's been real. We'll catch up.
Yes, sir. Be easy, dog.
All right. You too.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. The aim is to make a positive impact to as many people as possible. So if you enjoyed this, please share the show and help grow this podcast. I appreciate you guys. Keep pushing, and I'll catch you later.